So it has been approximately 30 hours since I watched the first episode of Oshi and approximately 20 hours since I rewatched it again after knowing the ending. Now for the people that are watching this video, I would highly recommend that you do the same so that you could get a better understanding, a better grasp, and could pick up subtle hints and foreshadowing that lead to the ultimate ending for Ai. Now as for the first episode, I really loved it. I think it was spectacular, and what a way to start a premiere for a show, right? It was approximately 3 episodes in one, and I'm so glad that they did it this way because we got familiar with the cast and the family dynamics, and we got to know Ai so much in the span of just 1 episode as opposed to it being 2 or 3 or 4 episodes, which I feel like would have had a lesser impact on what eventually happens to her death, spoiler alert. And I feel like the fact that it was all done in 1 episode makes it that much more impactful. Now for Ai, in my opinion, she's a very complex and well-written character because, as we know, if you pay attention, and especially if you go back and rewatch it after watching it the first time, you can pick up hints of her not being loved and, like, you know, not knowing how to love. Of course you could do it the first time around too, but it's more evident the second time around that you actually know what actually happens to her and all the things that she says, because when you're watching it the first time, it's kind of hard to remember all the information because you tend to forget. So if you know what actually happens at the end, which was very impactful, and you go back and rewatch it, then it actually gives you a better grasp and understanding of her character. Now, I started off as a character that was, as a child, she was abused at home, and her mother got arrested for theft, and then I was sent to an orphanage. And then when her mother was released from police custody, or I believe prison or jail, she never went back for Ai, and she basically abandoned her daughter. So Ai, she didn't know what real and genuine love meant, right? The one person that can give us genuine and unconditional love is our mother. And if that person is not there to give it to us, then we will be lost. We won't know what it means to actually love unconditionally. At the age of 12, right around the formation of Ai's group, Bikomachi, she met the president, who would later become her manager, and he basically told her that it's okay for her to lie and that she loves people, and that it's going to be evident in her songs anyway, so she might as well start lying so to make people feel better. This was horrible advice to her because she started to live this lie and believed that no matter what she felt towards somebody, that if she was expressing any sort of affection, then it would just be a lie, because that's what she was told from the age of 12 and upwards, because that's what the entertainment industry is. Her being involved in the entertainment industry had a huge impact on her character and how she perceives life and feelings towards other people. This is evident before we see her ultimate demise, where she says that throughout approximately the 4 years of her children being born, she has not once told them that she loves them, because she does not know how to differentiate between her being genuine and honest and her lying and telling somebody that she loves them. However, if you go back and rewatch it like I did, at the moment where the kids are doing their little dance when she's performing and she gets happy and she says, "My babies are so cute," when the children were in the stroller and the president's wife took them, right, because they would insist on going, there was a small sequence where her picture was trending on Twitter and people were saying, "Wow, I've never seen her smile like this. Wow, this is it right here." And I took that as people wanting her to smile like that, but in actuality, it was people saying that this smile of hers is genuine. This is genuine happiness that she was looking for all along. And she didn't realize this until the very end, which ultimately led to her being honest with her children and letting them know that she actually loves them, and her coming to terms with the fact that this is genuine and unconditional love that she has for her children, which she had from day one. Because when the doorbell rings and she goes to open the door and the stalker is there, when he asks her, "How are your twins?" when her eyes widen, that's when she actually gets stabbed and her life flashes before her eyes. And the most sad part of the episode starts with this sequence where, when her life flashes before her eyes, she is shown to only think of life after her children were born. So before that, she didn't consider anything being worth called life. right? Because her life flashes before her eyes. She sees when her children are born and her spending time with them. And the OST, it was just amazing. It was phenomenal. It actually brought me into my feelings. The second time around I watched it, it was even more emotional because I knew what ultimately happens. And again, I would recommend you go and do the same, rewatch it. And I'm telling you, I promise you guys, it's going to be even more emotional the end of the episode. And the crazy thing to me was that I, from the start, loved her children so much that, ironically enough, it was to please them that she actually ended up dying. Because if you guys recall, when she was talking to their father, she had a little flashback and said, "Oh, this all started when I walked in on my children, wondering who their father is." And then she went and she spoke to him, and from what it seemed like, she did not want to have anything to do with him because she was calling him from a payphone, right? She didn't even call him from her own phone, and she called him from a payphone. So which, that to me indicates that she didn't want to have anything to do with him, and she was only doing this for her children that she loved so much. This in turn led to her giving her address to him and him giving it to the stalker, from what we're told, and ultimately leads to her death, which was honestly one of like the most sad this was one of the most sad like sequences I've seen in a long time in anime, because the curveballs were insane for me in this episode. Because everybody was saying, "Oh, it's so sad, it broke me, this and that," but I thought they were talking about when Serena, like, you know, she passed away, and when the doctor passed away and they were reborn and stuff like that. And I thought that they were referring to Ai eventually learning to love her children and her fans, but I did not see this coming, that she was just gonna end up straight up dying in the first episode. And the fact that they made it all in one episode is so amazing that it adds even more impact. We get to know Ai as a character through and through, and it's not like we're taking a break, like watching her every week and then like a month later she dies. This was all like one after another, so we had all that information to soak in. And the fact that when she's about to die, she's still thinking of her children, about how she wants to be there for them when they grow up. She wants to go to their parent-teacher conferences and she wants to watch them grow up. It was truly heartbreaking, because in that moment you can tell that she's starting to realize that her children mean everything to her and she actually genuinely loves them. And that's what leads to her ultimately telling them that she loves them, and she says, "Oh, this wasn't a lie." And in death, what she longed for her whole life, her wish came true, which was to give somebody unconditional love and to love somebody from the bottom of her heart, which she spoke about earlier in the episode. She would always talk about that she's not happy and she wants happiness and she wants love, but subconsciously, what she didn't realize, she was getting happiness and like giving love through her children, right? Which she realized again at the end when she was about to die, because when her children showed up where she was singing and people were like, "Oh, who are these kids?" She had a genuine smile, like of happiness on her face when she said, "Oh, my babies are so cute." And people were commenting on that as well, saying, "Oh, this is it. I've never seen her smile like that." Because people before, when she was doing like an ego boost, she went on Twitter and people were saying, "Oh, her smile is so fake, it's really professional, this and that." And that was an insecurity of hers, because she did not experience happiness ever, right? So this was something that was so crazy and so crucial. When I was watching it the second time around, I realized like, whoa, this is actually like something that happened, and this is how it all connects together, and it's so brilliant to me. So this episode was amazing. Now, what I think is going to happen going forward, and please, for anybody that's watching, that's watched it this far, I really appreciate you. Please don't try to tell me if I'm right or wrong in the comments, because I don't want to get spoiled. This is just my theory that I came up with while I had the little time of like just thinking about this episode, because ever since I watched it, I've just been thinking about this episode. It impacted me that much. It was amazing. So please refrain from correcting me or trying to say that what I said is right, because I don't want to get spoiled and I don't want other people to get spoiled too. So what I think is going to happen is, now that at the end of the episode we saw that Ruby and Aqua were approximately the same age as I was when she gave birth to them, so approximately around 15-16 years old. So what I think now is going to happen is that Ruby is going to end up becoming an idol, just like her mother, like how her mother wanted her to. And this was foreshadowed at the end when she says, "Oh, mama wanted me to be an idol," and Aqua says, "Well, there's no point, you could just go and get a job and make money that way." And she said no, she sparkled. So that to me was signifying that she chose being an idol. And of course Aqua is gonna most likely be an actor, That's why at the end when he went to the director, he said, "Oh, would you consider raising me?" Now I'm not sure if he actually went and lived with the director during the time skip. I hope we get confirmation on that. And what I think is going to happen is Ruby is going to end up becoming an idol, whether a big idol or not, I'm not sure. But throughout that, she's going to make connections with people that will ultimately lead her into the circle of her father. Because if you guys remember, I met her children's father while she was an idol, so I'm assuming that he's either an idol or an actor or something along those lines. So that's why I think that Ruby will end up running into him over Aqua, because again, I was an idol and she ended up running into him, and I'm sure he's somebody higher up. That's why I was like told to keep it a secret, and I feel like that's why she didn't tell anybody why, like, who the father was. So I think that Ruby, I believe, is going to play a crucial role in Aqua finding their father. I feel like if it's Ruby, I feel like her father would probably recognize her, because like the little star in the kid's eyes, I haven't seen anybody except for those two and their mother with the sparkle or the star, sorry, in their eyes. So I'm sure that their father would recognize them. So I'm thinking that she's probably going to make friends with like somebody in his circle. Maybe he had a daughter or a son that these kids might end up being friends with, because to me, I feel like their father is not the type of person that would want to sit around and have a family, because he obviously he didn't even care about seeing his kids, right? He knew that they were like 4 years old and they were smart, this and that, when I was telling them, and he straight up sent that her address to that stalker, and got, like, you know, she died, which was very tragic. So I don't think that he cares about like any of his kids. He might have more, I'm not sure if he does. Ruby, I feel like is going to end up becoming friends with somebody, whether his daughter or maybe like somebody close to him, maybe his a younger girlfriend of his, and then eventually end up in his circle, and that's how they'll end up finding him. But I feel like this won't happen for a long time, because I feel like going forward they're going to focus on making connections and truly making the dream of their mother for them a reality, which was for Aqua to become an actor and for Ruby to become an idol, right? All in all, I think this was a phenomenal episode, and I'm making this video mostly because of like the thoughts that I had in my head, and I thought that I might as well make a video. Maybe if you guys relate, let me know what you guys thought of the episode, if you guys liked it or not. And if you haven't checked it out, go ahead, I have the reaction on my channel. And if you have watched it, please consider rewatching it after knowing the ending. I promise you guys it's going to be more emotional, more impactful, and you're going to pick up more subtle hints about like everything that was going on and like all the foreshadowing that was done for her death from the start, right? From her saying that she couldn't find happiness in a family and stuff like that, and then to her saying that everything like that she told people was fake. So this was like, you know, she was, and the most crucial foreshadowing, of course, was right before the doorbell rang, when she said, "Oh, I'm going to keep lying, even if I end up paying for it one day," you know. And that's what happened. She lied to the fans and said that she loves them, and then that guy came and he killed her. But then in death, she ended up being truthful to her children, and she told them how she really feels about them and that she loves them. And I'm glad that happened, but it was very sad when she was talking about how she wants to be there for them. So let's see what happens. And all in all, very great first episode. However, I do hope that the first episode didn't set expectations too high for the rest of the anime. I'm not sure if it's going to be just as good throughout the season, or if the quality will go down in terms of content, right? I don't want the content to go down, because the first episode was so impactful. Like, you know, obviously I was sort of playing like the main character. She was like the protagonist, and she just ended up dying. We learned so much about her. So I hope that this doesn't like lead into the content just being a little bit lower quality. I mean, even then I think it should be fine, but I hope that they manage to keep up the pace. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow for Hell's Paradise.